Good morning, UUSS. This morning, I'd like to welcome us together into this space with a new musical selection that has a call and response aspect to it. It is called How Shall We Come Together by Maggie Wheeler. The call portion will be what I offer, which is the question, and the answer will be the response, as one might anticipate. And so the tune here will be, how shall we come together? We shall come together singing. When shall we come together? We shall come together now. So the response will be, the first one will be, we shall come together singing. We shall come together singing. And then the second one of, when shall we come together? We shall come together now. We shall come together now. And the verses follow in that sort of a format. How shall we come together? We shall come together singing. When shall we come together? We shall come together now. How shall we hold the suffering? We shall hold the suffering singing. When shall we hold the suffering? We shall hold the suffering now. How shall we light the darkness? We shall light the darkness singing. When shall we light the darkness? We shall light the darkness now. How shall we teach the children? We shall teach the children singing. When shall we teach the children? We shall teach the children now. How shall we rise above it? We shall rise above it singing. When shall we rise above it? We shall rise above it now. How shall we come together?
We shall come together singing.
When shall we come together?
We shall come together now.
Thank you, Anthony. Welcome and good morning. My name is Karen. Thank you. Wasn't that nice? I'm Karen Sparrow, one of your worship associates with UUSS, and I am here with the Reverend Dr. Roger Jones. Yay. There we go, interactive. I like this. Reverend Lucy Bunch is away today, but she will be back next Sunday to present her sermon. Today's service is Reverend Roger's annual question box service. It's kind of like an oral exam. We'll see how he does, right? He's been cramming all weekend. But if you just arrived, and I know who you are, just saying, there are 3 tables in the back where you can write a question for Roger. Do please put your name on it, otherwise it will not be chosen. We are so glad you're here. Whether you're here in person or out on Zoom, it's so nice to have you here. The mission of our congregation states, we come together to deepen our lives, to be a force for healing in the world. Toward this end, we honor the Nisenan, Southern Maidu, and Miwok peoples for their commitment to this land where UUSS exists. They have never left nor ceased to care for this land. We hope you all stay after the service for a little conversation, tea and coffee out on the patio. You can get an order of service. You have one. Either in the back. For you on Zoom, there is a link for you to click for our website. If you are new to UUSS, we invite you to fill out a newcomer's card, either using the link on the website or at the welcome table right outside the doors. You will receive our message from our ministers by email, and in the summer, it comes every other Friday. We offer a newcomer orientation and tour of our on every second Sunday. Hello. It lasts for an hour, and you can find our wonderful guides right by the welcome table in about 10 minutes after the service's order is finished. Rich and Mary, would you stand so we know who we're going after? There they are. Find these two fabulous people and they'll give you a wonderful Disneyland tour. Included in your order of service is our very special blue sheet. Now, if you're new, this will become your friend. It gives you all the activities for the upcoming week. Here we are. I'm doing a Roger this morning. That's not like me. He's still studying. It's okay. There we go. Today, after the service, there are 2 additional activities. Actually, 3. The young adult group is meeting monthly, and it's today. If you're 18 to 40, please bring your coffee and join the fellowship in classrooms 7 and 8. If you're not sure where that is, ask somebody and they'll guide you. Yes, dear? Yes? I'm sorry, I missed the last part. You're going to do what? We'll be coming back into the sanctuary to support Matthew's presentation on art and activism. Okay. There will be nobody in 7 and 8. We also have a member and new board member, Dr. Matthew Espinoza Castro, presenting visual arts and racial justice, exploring the arts in activism. It will be hosted by the People of Color Caucus here in the sanctuary from noon to 1:15. You'll find the youth group there too. Second, our Theater 1 program presents a one-person show by a local performer, Sean O'Brien, and it's entitled Colonel Robert Ingersoll, the Great Agnostic. Say that 5 times real fast. It starts at noon and ends at 1 over in the Foz room. No charge, but a free will donation is gladly taken. Light snacks are provided, but you do need to provide your own coffee. In any event, please stay for conversation after the service in the welcome hall and on the patio. And for everybody on Zoom, stay on and you will be put into a chat room where you can chat with each other. Okay, it's that time. Check the cell phones. Make sure they are on silent and that your alerts are off. If someone next to you is having an issue with their phone, please be kind and assist them. And now, Alicia Taylor is going to join us for a special invitation to summer camp. Alicia? Oh, over here.
So I'm Alicia Taylor, and I'm here to talk about All Ages Camp, which takes place August 1st through 3rd. So we come together to deepen our lives and be a force for healing in the world. All Ages Camp is an occasion to do just that, an opportunity to build deeper relationships within our congregation, to get to know people better, and to provide support to each other during a time that feels more challenging for so many of us. So let's talk about the details. All Ages Camp is an intergenerational opportunity for camping, community, and fellowship. It takes place at Camp Norge, which is just an hour up Highway 80. It's owned by the Sons of Norway, which is why the Viking hat and why I am an honorary Norwegian now. So we will have campfires, singing, s'mores, hiking, crafts, a potluck dinner, a pancake breakfast, and a short outdoor service. You get to choose what you want to do. You don't have to do everything. You can sleep in a dorm bed, an RV, or even a tent. There's running water, showers, kitchens, flushing toilets, a pool, and a playground. You can stay the weekend or just come up for a day. Registration is still open. Prices are going to go up by 20% on June 22nd, so register soon for the lowest fees. Visit the information table on the patio after service for more information and for a registration QR code. You can also find the registration link in the weekly message, the blue sheet, and on the website, uuss.org/camp. So I continue to coordinate All Ages Camp because I continue to be inspired by how many people have shared about their experience with it, building and renewing important relationships and friendships through camp. I hope that you will join us for this great experience. Thanks for listening.
And now we will receive our music for centering.
Good morning. This morning, James has volunteered to be our chalice lighter, with Karen assisting. Around the country and around the world, Unitarian Universalist congregations begin our services and our small group meetings with the ritual of lighting a flame within a vessel crafted in the form of a chalice. Please join me by responding with the words in bold. On this new day, we gather as people of all ages, from all stages of life, with gifts and needs, joys and sorrows.
Near and far, in person and online, we gather as one congregation.
We kindle this flame, the symbol of warmth, of insight, of commitment. On this particular day, in our service, we gather to express curiosity, ponder our doubts, and learn what concerns and hopes are on our hearts and in the minds and hearts of those around us. Let us welcome questions. Let us be grateful for the freedom to ask, to doubt, to wonder, and to speak freely what is in our hearts. Let us welcome all who seek insight and inspiration, comfort and challenge, belonging and purpose. Now let us find renewed strength in reciting together the words of the mission of this congregation. We come together to deepen our lives and be a force for healing in the world. Thank you, James. And this morning, our children and anybody else who would like to go to religious education will depart. The summer program is arts and crafts focused on the UU values, which you see on the cover of your order of service. And we will sing you out.
You gotta put one foot in
Front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. You gotta put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love.
Don't give up hope. You're not alone. You're not alone. Don't you give up. Don't you give up. Keep moving on. Keep moving on. You gotta put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. You gotta put one foot in front of the other and lead with love. Put one foot in front of the other and lead with love.
We come together with many things on our hearts, joys, sorrows, prayers, hopes. And if you have a joy or a concern that you would like to let the ministers know, you can find the link for that in the Friday email message, or you can call the office or contact us before the weekend, and you can let us know if you would like it included in the service on Sunday. First, some joys. Sue Jones shares the joy that Lalpari, one of the Afghan refugee mothers that we help, came through her major thoracic surgery a week ago, and she's doing well. It took 6 months of tests and 6 trips to the emergency room with her breathing problems before surgery happened. But Lalpari is breathing normally and eating normally now. Her children and husband are very happy and relieved, and so is Sue. As the California State Fair begins, we extend our good wishes to all who find joy in competitions in so many categories of human endeavor, and all who enjoy attending the fair. Our member Terry Ray came down with a severe case of the flu after a trip to Chicago, and she's been sick at home. She's sorry she can't be with us today in person, and she welcomes our good wishes for strength and renewed health. Our member Sarah Patton is recovering at home following surgery, and she continues to welcome our wishes and our prayers. Our member Gary Reiner is waiting for a surgery date for a pancreatic tumor, and Gary welcomes our prayers as well. We send our love and our wishes for ease and healing to all of these people and all people we know who are dealing with health challenges, with afflictions of body, mind, or spirit. May you feel our affection and our care. Some among us are bearing deep grief after the loss of a loved one, and this includes the loss of a companion animal. Reverend Lucy Bunch and Nancy Flagg are grieving the loss of their gentle old German Shepherd, a lovely dog named Luna. Many of us knew Luna and watched her grow up. We extend our condolences and our tender care to them. Looking beyond these walls, we see many causes of grief and fear. We extend our condolences to the loved ones of the 7 workers killed in the fireworks factory explosion in Yolo County on July 1. Their ages range from 18 to 45. We continue to express our sorrow after the suffering in the hill country of central Texas following the deadly floods which have taken so many lives, including 36 children at summer camp. We extend our condolences to the grieving and our prayers for strength to the survivors and to all who are trying to provide help. Amid the realities of joy and gratitude, heartbreak and grief, we pause to center ourselves now. Amid the many hurdles of ordinary life, we need moments of pause in order to renew our spirits, as well as to remember the values that ground us and guide us. So let us pause now together in community. We can center ourselves in an awareness of our breathing, awareness of every inhaled breath and every exhaled breath. May our breathing settle us. And we can notice our bodies, becoming aware of the parts of our bodies, making physical contact with whatever surfaces are holding us. And may we know we are sustained and held. And as we continue pausing and breathing together, let us turn our hearts toward the sources of life and love. And let us be reminded that we are loved. After these words of prayer, we will be together for a time of silence. O Spirit of life, O Spirit of love, be with us today and renew us for the days to come. Extend a blessing of love on all those whom we are holding in our hearts. May they find peace and rest, strength and healing, safety and peace. Give us courage to remember those in places of disaster, conflict, and oppression, those who live in those places and those who try to provide help and protection. Give us the wisdom to open our hearts, to reach out to others so that we may expand our sense of neighbor, expand our sense of community, pursue deeper connections, and realize that we belong. We belong to one another, to the human family, and to the family of all beings in the great web of life. So may it be. Amen. Blessed be.
Please join in singing Voice Still and Small. Still and small, deep inside all, I hear your call singing. In storm and rain, sorrow and pain, still we remain singing. Calming my tears, quenching my tears. This reading is entitled The Sound of the Genuine, and it comes from a meditation by Reverend Dr. Howard Thurman. He lived from 1899 to 1981. In 1953, he became the dean of the March Chapel at Boston University, a Methodist institution. He served on the faculty and as campus chaplain for 12 years, the first African-American minister to be appointed to such a role in a dominant white university. While at Boston University, he was a mentor to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., a young doctoral student. Thurman taught King and other students about Mohandas Gandhi's theories of nonviolence as a way of life and as a political strategy. Thurman had met with Gandhi in the British colony of India in the 1930s. The words of Howard Thurman: "There is something in every one of you that waits, listens for the genuine in yourself. And if you cannot hear it, you will never find whatever it is for which you are searching. And if you hear it and then do not follow it, it was better that you had never been born. You are the only you that has ever lived. Your idiom is the only idiom of its kind in all of existence. And if you cannot hear the sound of the genuine in you, you will all of your life spend your days on the ends of strings that somebody else pulls. There is in you something that waits and listens for the sound of the genuine in yourself. Yet sometimes there is so much traffic going on in your minds, so many different kinds of signals, so many vast impulses floating through your organism that go back thousands of generations, long before you were even thought in the mind of creation. and you are buffeted by these. And in the midst of all of this, you have got to find out what your name is. Who are you? How does the sound of the genuine come through you? The sound of the genuine is flowing through you.
For Reverend Rogers' question box sermon, a number of questions were submitted earlier in the week. A few of the people asked that we not use their name specifically. Later on in the service, we'll be choosing items from the congregation as well as Zoom. Karen Hirsch asked this one. Are you able to find hope for the future given the current state of the U.S. and the world, imminent climate change, rising autocracy, growing political divides and violence, etc.? If so, what makes you hopeful?
Gee, thanks. Well, I hear in your question that a lot of anguish, because I feel it myself, heartbreak, outrage, fear, disbelief. It is really horrific, and I don't feel confident, and I don't feel optimistic, but hope, as I understand it, is different from a feeling. Hope is an attitude. Hope is a choice. Hope is an action. And by our actions, by our choices, we do what we can. We give our energy toward the world that we hope for, that we want, that we are committed to because of our shared values. So I think it's important to be in community. It's important to be in solidarity. It's important to show up. And I am struck by the example of the civil rights movement. The first civil rights movement was actually after the Civil War in the time of Reconstruction, and there was a terrible backlash which led to legalized segregation and terrorism known as lynching and denial of voting rights of African Americans. And that lasted for many decades, and the civil rights movement caught the public attention and and gained in power and influence in the 1950s and 60s. And it seems that that movement, along with other liberation movements, have come into a place where there's a terrible backlash. But the people who lived in those times did not know what the future would hold. They could only live and work toward the future that they longed for. And they stayed together. So I think times of despair are times to find your communities. Karen?
David Paul wrote this one. How do we not hate political leaders who say they hate people who oppose them?
Well, we can refuse to take the bait when they do that, because hating them only drains our energy and it doesn't change them at all. Actually, when David's email came in to me with that question, I wrote back and I said, well, I was just writing your nomination to sainthood, Dave, and and now you saved me a lot of time because I can just tear that up. Because now all I have to do is nominate you to be a normal human being, and that's just like a little check on a postcard to send it in, because that's a very normal, understandable thing. It's normal, understandable to have reactions to people in power who do terrible things, committing intentional harm through verbal attacks and violent policies. And I get outraged, I get angry, I get upset, and that can motivate us. But we need to recognize that when we feel that anger, it's a result of how much we care. And it's a result really of love of those we know or love of those we don't know who are vulnerable, who are at risk, as well as love of ourselves if we are at risk. So that's the love that we need to remember, and we need to remember not to waste our energy in hating people. Okay?
A newcomer to the congregation wrote this. In light of the last Sunday's volunteer worship associate-led service on joy, a newcomer to UUSS asked the following question. Is feeling joy a betrayal to those who are experiencing a real-life hell in our own country? Knowing there's so much pain being inflicted and scheduled, do you use your UU teachings or readings to soothe that sadness or upsettedness?
Thank you. I sometimes feel that myself. It's sort of like feeling like, should I eat as much as I do, knowing that some people are starving in the world? And I do eat 3 meals a day, but I try not to waste food. And I think the same thing about joy. Joy is something that gives us strength, and something that actually is a sign of resistance to cultivate joy. And when you think about the work we do toward justice and liberation, it is toward the day when everybody has the freedom and the access to have joy in their lives. So joy can be a motivator because we want other people to have their own choice of what makes them feel joyful. And one thing that gives me joy is satire and humor, and I would hate to give that up. And also for me, that's a kind of resistance. So I think we can do both: have empathy and cultivate joy. And I did hear great things about the service last week, but I haven't seen it yet on our website on YouTube, but I heard great things about that. And then in terms of what gives me comfort, I would say being in community, music, poetry, spiritual practice, and the Hebrew Bible has 150 psalms, and many of those psalms are psalms of lament. So the need to lament some terrible things is ancient and very human. So and that can provide some solace, some consolation, I think.
Here's a question from last year that Roger wasn't able to answer. In the time frame, come on, all right. What do you have to say about pastoral care to those of us who have a hard time reaching out for support?
Reach out. There's all kinds of ways to exchange or experience pastoral care. There's phone calls, there's emails, there's a hug before the service, there's a hug and a conversation after a committee meeting or at a work party. There's all kinds of ways that we, there's social events, there's fellowship opportunities for us to connect. That is you with ministers, ministers with you, and you with one another. So if you're newer here, you should feel encouraged to reach out, in part so we can just get acquainted. Pastoral care does not have to be because there's something really hard going on. It can be just to make a connection. And then sometimes, if something hard does happen, we've already made the connection. And so we can build on that. Hope that's enough.
Roger, do you have a question for any of us?
I have a few. I have one for those of you who are on Zoom. Right now, how many people are at the device that you're watching the service at? Is it 1, 2, or more? And type that into the chat so that we can see of course, we have a count of how many computers are logged in or how many devices are logged in every Sunday, but we don't really know how many people are represented there. So other human beings, or total number of human beings at your device, so type that in the chat and we'll read that later. because we always read what's in the chat later. And I have a question for you. How many of you have been coming here for 2 years or less? Raise your hands. That's a lot of people. Okay, and how many of you can think of one person that you have introduced yourself to in the last 2 or 3 weeks here at UUSS? How many of you can think of one person you've introduced yourself to? That's great. You get to pick up your door prize after the service. Okay. Oh, and I forgot to mention with regard to pastoral care, we do have a caring committee when people are going through hard times or sometimes even great times, like a new baby is in the home. We have a pastoral visitors or pastoral volunteers team that does monthly calls to check in, especially with people who aren't able to get to church. So, I'm ready.
Are you ready? Here's one more question as a part of the first part of the service. What is your favorite part of the worship service?
Okay. I love the silence just after I finish the sermon, before the music director wakes you all up, to sing the closing hymn. It's a great moment. And I do like congregational singing. I liked it as a kid in a different tradition, and I liked it when I discovered Unitarian Universalism in my 20s, and ever since then I like singing with other people. And another part of the service I like all parts of the service, even the offering, and it's time for that now.
Nice lead in, Roger. Thank you. Generosity is a spiritual practice. This congregation has a practice of giving away half of every Sunday's offering to an organization that is working to make a difference in the world. In July, our community partner is Mercy Peddlers, whose volunteers reach out to hundreds of unhomed neighbors surviving on the streets, parkways, parking lots in the Sacramento area. On bikes and in cars, the peddlers provide water, coffee, food, personal comforts, and referrals for support. Most of all, they offer the kindness and respect. One of our UUS peddlers, Jerry Hausman, shares the following story. On Sunday, June 22nd, I was tending the Mercy Peddlers cart after church when a UUSS friend approached me and inquired whether or not we could accept a bicycle. I checked with Crystal in the office, and she confirmed that the bikes would be stored on campus. Then our friend thought of 2 motocross bikes to our cart. While Mercy Peddlers, the next Thursday, I gave 2 young unhomed men bags of supplies. One of the men showed an interest in my bike, and I told them that we had 2 donated bikes and asked if they would want them. What do you think? They were so excited, and at the office, they were so excited by the offer. I gave them directions to UUSS. I told them to ask Crystal and tell her, Jerry sent me for the bike. Before I could even check with Crystal, the young men had arrived at UUSS and were inspecting the bikes. On the following Saturday, while Mercy pedaling again, I noticed one of the men across the street, across Howe, riding his brand new red bike. Thanks to this generous donation, these young men now possess improved mobility to get access to essential services. Thank you, Jerry, for that story. You can meet a Mercy Peddler every Sunday outside the front doors on the patio. Thank you for your generosity to UUSS as well as our community partner. This morning's offering will now be given and received. And as our greeters come forward with the offering, please join me in saying our unison words. May generosity bless our world, and may gratitude nourish our spirit.
And now it's the lightning round. I will ask some of the questions submitted by all of you, as well as from the Zoom link. Roger will have no time to look up the answers on Wikipedia.
Give me your phone.
I'm timing myself. Go ahead.
If you can't answer the question, does the whole thing end?
Yeah.
From the congregation, Barbara Dace asks, if you could recommend I read one spiritually oriented book, what would it be?
I have bought so many. They're in a big stack, and sometimes I read them. I've read a number of reflection per day kinds of books, in the morning, and one by oh shoot, I can't remember his name, but I read it for a number of years. And then there's a few copies in our bookstore of a new book, This Day in Recovery, 365 Daily Meditations for Unitarian Universalists. So it relates to UU principles and UU values, and also the 12 steps of the recovery movement that I find useful. And I think those are good things on a regular basis. And I will look at my stack of books and put something in an upcoming newsletter to recommend a couple of things, and there are some things in our bookstore, I know, if you go to that on the used book side. So, and actually the new book side, because there's a lot of UU things that are of a spiritual nature.
This one's from Hallie Kasai. Have you ever wished you were called a vicar instead of a reverend?
Well, only by Hallie Kasai do I want to be called a vicar. Actually, I think in the Episcopal Church, if you're a vicar, it means you're sort of appointed by the bishop to serve a struggling little parish, and if you're called by the congregation to serve a parish that doesn't need any subsidy from its bishop, then you're called a rector. So I think vicar sounds a little nicer. So thank you.
I agree, because my dad was one. Yeah. This is from Nicolette Thayer. What is your astrological sun sign? Extra points if you know your moon and rising signs.
Sounds like Nicolette has a skill that could be put into the service auction, because I don't know my rising moon or the other thing you said, but I do know that I'm an Aquarius, and my mother, who read 3 papers a day, used to, when I was growing up, read aloud the horoscope for the next day for all of us. So I learned I was an Aquarius.
This one is from Alicia Taylor. What are 1 or 2 of the books you would recommend, this is not a repeat question, recommend to learn more about Unitarian Universalism, its history and traditions?
There's a couple of good narrative histories of the UU tradition, especially in North America. One by John Burens and one by David Bumbaugh. And there is the UU Pocket Guide, which we usually hand out to people during the new member ceremony. And there's a number of books about spirituality, Unitarian Universalist theology, and actually there's a series of books called Unitarian Universalist Humanists, Unitarian Universalist Christians, Jewish Unitarian Universalists, Pagan Unitarian Universalists, and Buddhist Unitarian Universalists. And those have a bunch of essays in them by different UUs of those orientations.
This is the last one for this section. Have you ever been scammed? Oh, it's from Frankie Cohen. Have you ever been scammed? What was the very first thing you did? I'm not sure I want to know the answer to that. Did you feel shame, and how did you overcome your shame?
I understand that shame is a common reaction because scamming is a terrible criminal problem. I mean, it's a multi-billion-dollar problem in the world, and I have not been scammed, and I can recall, although I've given money which I wish I hadn't given. I think the first time I did that was to a door-to-door person selling candy or something when I was a teenager, And the next day I found out that they were from the Unification Church, the Moonies, and which I don't want to support, or I didn't want to support, but I had. And about 8 years ago, I got a thing flash on the computer screen that said my computer was frozen and I needed to call this number, and I called, and I thought, who is this? Because I thought it was somebody, but I thought, well, I'm just going to call him. So I called and nobody answered, but I left a message, and I said, what's going on? And so then they called me back, but I didn't answer. I listened to the message later, and they used my name, and I really freaked out. And I called a friend of mine who works in cybersecurity, and he said, don't worry about it. You can turn your computer off. So I think the main thing is, and the reason they knew my name is because they called me back and they heard me say my name on my outgoing message. It's not that they knew who I was. And so I think reaching out when anything happens, and there's a scam going out right now they're offering our scams going to people from ministers. Can you help? And you should always check with at least one other person, ideally the person whose name is on that scam thing, just to make sure that it is a scam, but you don't want to reply directly to that. So slowing down, checking in. Okay? Yeah.
How about we take some questions from the audience? Whoa, raise your hands. Anthony will bring you a microphone, and Roger will pick on you.
Okay. Bob, and then
Choose you.
over there.
Thank you. I have a comment, not a question. The comment is a book that I think we all should be reading. It's called On Freedom by Timothy Snyder. Snyder is recognized as the top historical and I believe spiritual figure of our time. And I think of Nazi Germany a lot.
Bob, thank you for that. And Lucy just did a sermon about that 3 weeks ago, that very book. So you're,
Really?
yeah, so that you're brilliant, obviously. So,
Oh, I'm late.
yeah. Over here,
Who would you like next, Roger? Raise your hand.
Gretchen, and then Dan.
Roger, as you know, as most people here don't know, I have served as a minister for many years and offered this service at least every year. And I called it Stump the Minister. However, I want to say to you, Roger, as a colleague, this was the most positive I have ever seen.
Thank you.
Well, now I'm going to dunk on that because I actually am going to say this with as much love as I can bring to this. And I'm not intending to stump anybody, but I'm not also expecting an answer right away.
Good.
I keep thinking about this. I'm no closer to knowing. Is there not more that we can do for the natives than acknowledge we're on their stolen land?
Dan asked the question, is there not more that we can do for Native people around here than acknowledge that we're on stolen land? Thank you. Thank you. That's an important question, and not one I'm going to try to give a glib answer to, so thank you. I think we should have a closing hymn. Yeah.
Please rise in body or spirit to sing sing What Wondrous Love.
What wondrous love is this, O my soul, O my soul. What wondrous love is this, O my soul. What wondrous love is this that brings my heart such bliss and takes away the pain of my soul, of my soul.
And it takes away the pain of my soul. When I was sinking down, sinking down, sinking down. When I was sinking down, sinking down. When I was sinking down beneath my sorrow's crown, friends to me gathered round, oh my soul, oh my soul. Friends to me gathered round, oh my soul. To love and true all friends I will sing, I will sing. To love and true all friends I will sing. To love and true all friends of pain and sorrow mend. When thanks unto the end I will sing, I will sing. With thanks unto the end I will sing.
Please join me in our words as we extinguish the candle. We extinguish this flame, but we carry the light, love, and commitment of this gathering into the days to come.
May you depart in peace and be led forth in joy. Would you reach out to us as we reach out to you, reach out to one another, and if you're at home, we're reaching out to you, so we hope you're reaching this way. For all who see God, may God go with you. For everyone who embraces life, may life return your affection. And for those who seek a right path, may a way be found and the courage to take it step by step, one day at a time. Blessed be.